I spent 3 years planning the perfect proposal for my girlfriend, but when I opened the ring box, she said, finally, and pulled out her phone to call someone. My stomach dropped as Vesper pressed a number on speed dial, barely glancing at the 2-carat diamond I'd saved every penny for. We were standing on the beach where we'd had our first date, surrounded by the fairy lights I'd spent hours hanging. The sunset was perfect. The ring was perfect. Her reaction was anything but. "Becca, it's happening," she said into the phone, turning away from me. "He finally did it." I stood there like an idiot, ring box still open, while she paced in the sand. "No, exactly like we planned," she continued. "The beach, the lights, even the stupid speech about soulmates." My blood went cold. "Planned?" She glanced back at me, covering the phone. "Just give me 1 second, babe. This is important." Important? I'd just proposed, and she was having a casual conversation with someone else. "Yeah, he's standing right there looking confused," she laughed. "Should I tell him now or wait until after dinner?" "Tell me what?" I'd known Vesper for 4 years. We'd moved in together, adopted a cat, talked about kids. She knew I'd been ring shopping because I'd made her Pinterest board obvious. But this felt like I was watching a stranger. "Okay, I'll do it now," she said, hanging up. She turned back to me with this bright smile that suddenly looked calculating. "Tristan, we need to talk." The way she said my name made my skin crawl. Too sweet, too practiced. "I'm not who you think I am," she began, sitting on the driftwood log I'd strategically placed for the perfect proposal photos. "My real name isn't Vesper Thorne, it's Vesper Montenegro, and you're not my boyfriend." I must have looked as confused as I felt because she sighed dramatically. "You're my assignment." "Assignment? For the past 4 years, I've been gathering information about your father's company. The government has been investigating Montenegro Industries for money laundering, and your dad's firm handles their legal work. My father's law firm, the one I was supposed to join after graduation. Every date, every conversation, every time I've been to your parents' house, I've been building a case." The ring box slipped from my hands. The proposal was just the final step. "Once we're engaged, I gain access to family financial records as your fiancé. Your mom already offered to add me to their bank accounts. 4 years. 4 years of lies. But here's the thing," she said, standing up and brushing sand off her dress. "I actually fell for you. Real feelings, not the fake ones. So, I'm going to give you a choice." She pulled a manila envelope from her purse, the purse I'd bought her for Christmas. "Option 1. You help me finish gathering evidence against your father. He's guilty, Tristan. The money trail leads directly to 3 shell companies he set up." She handed me the envelope. Inside were photographs, bank statements, documents with my father's signature. "Option 2. I turn in what I have now, your father goes to prison, and you never see me again." I stared at the evidence. My father's handwriting, his private email address, financial records that proved he'd been moving dirty money for years. "There's a third option," she said quietly, "but you're not going to like it." I looked up at her. For a moment, she looked like the Vesper I'd fallen in love with, vulnerable, uncertain. "What's the third option?" She glanced toward the parking lot where a black SUV was now parked. 2 figures sat inside, watching us. "Your father isn't the only one who's been lying to you." The manila envelope felt heavy in my hands. I opened it wider and found more documents. Bank statements from accounts I'd never seen. Wire transfers with my own social security number. Credit applications I'd never filled out. "What the hell is this?" "Your father's been using your identity for 3 years, Vesper said. "Every shell company, every offshore account. It's all in your name." I flipped through page after page. Tristan Hawthorne, my signature forged on documents authorizing millions in transfers. Companies I'd never heard of listing me as the sole proprietor. "You're not just his son, Tristan. You're his fall guy." My legs gave out. I sat hard on the log, documents scattered in the sand around me. "The FBI doesn't know about the identity theft yet," she continued. "As far as they're concerned, you're the mastermind. Your father's just the lawyer following orders. That's impossible. I'm 25 years old. I've been in college. Your credit score is 780. You supposedly own 3 corporations and a yacht in the Cayman Islands." She sat beside me, her voice gentler now. "Tristan, if they arrest you tomorrow, you're looking at 30 years in federal prison." The surf crashed against the shore. Normal people walked their dogs in the distance. My entire world had just collapsed and life kept moving around me. "The third option," I said numbly. "We disappear. Tonight. New identities, new lives. I have contacts who can make us vanish completely." "You mean run?" "I mean survive." The black SUV's doors opened. 2 men in dark suits stepped out, scanning the beach. "Those aren't my people," Vesper whispered urgently. "We need to go, now." She grabbed my hand and pulled me up. I stumbled, still clutching the documents. "What about my parents?" "Your parents," she hesitated. "Your mother doesn't know. Your father will probably blame everything on you anyway." We ran toward the parking lot, but the agents had already positioned themselves between us and my car. Vesper pulled out her phone and made another call. "Code 7, extract point beta. 2 minutes." She grabbed my keys from my pocket and threw them as hard as she could into the dunes. "What the hell?" "GPS tracker. Your father's been monitoring your location for months." A motorcycle roared to life from behind the dune grass. A woman in all black leathers pulled up, tossing us helmets. "Get on," Vesper ordered. I looked back at the beach where I'd planned to start the next chapter of my life. The fairy lights still twinkled. The ring box lay open in the sand. "Tristan!" The agents were running toward us now. I climbed on the bike behind Vesper. We sped away as everything I'd ever known became smaller in the distance. 3 hours later, we sat in a 24-hour diner 50 miles inland. The woman who'd driven the motorcycle had disappeared as suddenly as she'd appeared. Vesper sat across from me, looking exhausted. "Who are you really?" I asked. "DEA. Undercover for 18 months when I met you. And you just happened to fall for your assignment?" She stirred her coffee slowly. "It wasn't supposed to happen. You were supposed to be like your father. Arrogant. Entitled. Easy to manipulate. Thanks? Instead, She looked up at me. "You actually care about people. You volunteer at the animal shelter. You visit your grandmother every Sunday. You cried during that stupid movie about the dog. Marley and Me. You're nothing like him." I thought about my father. David Hawthorne, successful attorney, pillar of the community. The man who'd taught me to fish and helped with my college applications. The man who'd apparently been committing felonies in my name. "How long have you known?" "About the identity theft? 6 months. About your father being a criminal since day one? About falling for you?" She smiled sadly. "About 2 years. Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I needed evidence to prove you weren't involved. Every interaction we had, I was building a case for your innocence." My phone buzzed. A text from my father. "Where are you? Your mother's worried." I showed Vesper the screen. "Don't respond. They'll trace it." "So what happens now?" "Now we prove your innocence and take down your father." Her phone rang. She looked at the caller ID and frowned. "I have to take this." She stepped outside. Through the window, I watched her pace back and forth, her conversation growing more animated. Finally, she came back inside, her face pale. "We have a problem." "What now?" "Those agents at the beach? They weren't FBI." My stomach dropped. "Then who were they?" "Montenegro Industries Private Security." The name hit me like a physical blow. Montenegro Industries, the company Vesper had said my father was laundering money for. They know I'm undercover. They know about the evidence. How? Someone's been feeding them information from inside the DEA. I stared at her. "You think there's a mole?" "I think we're both dead if we don't move fast." She pulled out a different phone, one I'd never seen before. "This is a burner. Untraceable. I need to contact my handler." She dialed a number and waited. And waited. He's not answering. Maybe he's asleep. He never sleeps, and he always answers this number. 2 men in casual clothes entered the diner, looking too alert for this time of night. "Don't turn around," Vesper whispered. "We're blown." She left money on the table and we slipped out through the kitchen. The night cook barely looked up as we pushed through the back door into an alley. "This way." We ran through back streets until we reached a motel that looked abandoned. "Wait here," Vesper said. She came back with a room key. "Paid cash. Fake name. We're safe for now." The room was exactly what you'd expect. Brown carpet, orange bedspreads, and a TV from the 1990s. Now what? Now I call the only person who might be able to help us. "Who?" "My sister." Vesper dialed another number. "Becca, it's me. I need help." Becca, the person she'd called when I proposed. "No, I can't come in. Someone's feeding Montenegro our information." "Yes, I'm sure. Because they found us at the extraction point." She listened for a long time. "Okay, 48 hours. But Becca, if something happens to me, make sure Tristan doesn't take the fall for his father's crimes." She hung up. "Good news or bad news?" "Both. Good news. Becca can get us clean identities and safe passage out of the country. And the bad news? We have to survive 48 hours first." My phone rang. My father's name appeared on the screen. "Don't answer it," Vesper said. "He'll just keep calling." The phone stopped ringing, then immediately started again. "Something's wrong," I said. "Dad never calls this much." "Against Vesper's protests," I answered. "Dad? Tristan, thank God. Where are you?" Why? What's wrong?" "Your mother's missing." My blood turned to ice. "What do you mean missing?" "She went to the grocery store 3 hours ago. Her car's still in the parking lot, but she's gone." I looked at Vesper. Her face had gone white. "Did you call the police?" "Of course I called the police. They're treating it as a missing persons case, but..." His voice broke. "Son, I think this might be connected to some work I've been doing." "What kind of work?" Silence. "Dad, I can't discuss it over the phone. Can you come home? I'm on my way." I hung up and started gathering my things. "You can't go home," Vesper said. "It's obviously a trap. They have my mother. We don't know that." An hour later, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Come alone. Tell no one. Mom's safety depends on your cooperation." I showed Vesper the message. "That's not from your father." "Then who?" "Montenegro's people." My phone rang again. This time it was my mother's voice, shaky and scared. "Tristan, I don't know where I am. Some men took me from the grocery store. They said they need to talk to you. I'm coming to get you." "No, don't. They said if you involve the police or anyone else, they'll..." The line went dead. "I'm going," I said. "Then I'm coming with you." "No, it's too dangerous. Everything's dangerous now." We drove toward my hometown in a car Vesper had somehow acquired. The plan was simple. Surveil my father's office, follow him, and confront him somewhere safe. "What if he's working with Montenegro willingly?" Vesper asked. "Then we'll know." My father's law firm occupied a restored Victorian mansion downtown. We parked across the street and waited until his BMW pulled into the parking lot. Even from a distance, I could see he looked terrible. 20 minutes later, 3 black SUVs pulled into the parking lot simultaneously. Montenegro's people, Vesper whispered. We watched them enter the building. 5 minutes later, they emerged with my father between them. He wasn't handcuffed, but he wasn't walking voluntarily either. The SUVs left in convoy formation. We followed at a distance to an industrial district on the outskirts of town. They turned into the parking lot of a seemingly abandoned warehouse. Now what? Vesper pulled out her phone. Now we call for backup. Who exactly are we going to call? The only person I trust. She dialed a number I hadn't seen before. Agent Torres, this is Agent Montenegro. Code Black. I need immediate extraction and tactical support. She listened, then spoke rapidly. Industrial Road, Warehouse 47, hostage situation. 3 civilians, unknown number of hostiles. She hung up. How long? 20 minutes. We don't have 20 minutes. My phone buzzed. Your father is with us now. Come to Warehouse 47 on Industrial Road. Come alone or both your parents die. We have to go, I said. Torres will be here in 10 minutes. They won't wait 10 minutes. Vesper was typing on her phone. What are you doing? Offering them a trade. Me for your parents. No, it makes sense. I'm the real threat to their operation. She hit send before I could argue. The response came immediately. Bring the girl to the south entrance. Parents released when we have her. We drove to Warehouse 47. The industrial district looked ominous in the dark. Broken streetlights cast weird shadows. I don't see any tactical teams, I said. They won't be visible until they move. We parked at the south entrance. A single light illuminated a metal door marked with peeling numbers, 47. The door opened before we reached it. A man in a suit gestured us inside. Just the girl, he said. Both of us are no deal, I replied. He spoke into a radio, listened, then nodded. We followed him through corridors to the main floor. My parents sat in metal chairs in the center of the space, surrounded by at least a dozen armed men. A woman emerged from the shadows. Mid-50s, expensive suit, the kind of confidence that comes from never being told no. Ms. Montenegro, she said to Vesper, or should I call you Agent Montenegro? Ms. Reyes, Vesper replied, still running Montenegro Industries into the ground? Business has never been better. Nothing increases demand for money laundering services like federal scrutiny. She gestured to my parents. These lovely people have been helping us navigate that scrutiny very effectively. By committing crimes in their son's name, Vesper said. By providing necessary legal services. Ms. Reyes walked closer to us. Do you know what's interesting about this situation, Agent Montenegro? I'm sure you're going to tell me. Your handler, Agent Torres, has been feeding us information about your investigation for 6 months. Vesper's face went pale. That's impossible. Is it? How do you think we found you at the beach? How do you think we knew about your safe house protocols? Torres wouldn't. Agent Torres has gambling debts, significant gambling debts. Debts that Montenegro Industries has been very generous about managing. The betrayal hit Vesper like a physical blow. So you see, Ms. Reyes continued, no one is coming to rescue you. What do you want? I asked. From you? Nothing. You're here because your girlfriend insisted on playing hero. She nodded to one of her men, who handed her a manila folder. Your father came to us 18 months ago with a proposal. He would continue laundering our money, but only if we stopped using your identity. She pulled out a document and showed it to me. My father's signature at the bottom, but the terms above made my blood run cold. In exchange for our legal services, Montenegro Industries was granted full access to all Hawthorne family financial information, including the right to open accounts and establish businesses in the names of immediate family members. I would never sign something like that, my father said. You signed it because you were told it was a standard attorney-client privilege agreement. I looked at my father. You didn't read it? I trusted them. They'd been clients for 5 years. Standard paperwork that gave them permission to commit identity theft. Ms. Reyes smiled coldly. Now you both disappear. Permanently. Your parents return home with a clear understanding of what happens if they contact law enforcement. She nodded to her men who started moving toward us. That's when the lights went out. Emergency lighting kicked in a second later, bathing everything in red. In that moment of darkness, Vesper moved. I heard gunshots, shouting, people running. Get down! Vesper yelled. I dropped and crawled toward my parents. Federal agents, nobody move! Torres. Maybe he wasn't dirty after all. This is Agent Torres, DEA, weapons down. That's impossible! Ms. Reyes shouted. You work for us. I work for the United States government. The gunfire subsided. Torres's voice came over a bullhorn. Building is surrounded. Lay down your weapons and surrender. 2 hours later, we sat in the back of an ambulance. My parents were in a second ambulance being treated for shock. Torres approached with coffee. How's the arm? He asked Vesper. I'll live. Good. Because I need to debrief you before Internal Affairs gets here. Internal Affairs? Ms. Reyes was right about one thing. There is a mole in the DEA, but it's not me. Then who? Agent Caldwell. He's been selling information for 2 years. Caldwell? Vesper looked shocked. But he's dirty. We've been building a case against him for months. Your operation was part of the trap. You used me as bait? I used Montenegro Industries' confidence against them. They thought they had Caldwell feeding them information. What they didn't know was that Caldwell was feeding them information we wanted them to have. What kind of information? False intelligence about when raids would happen. Fake evidence about which accounts we were tracking. What happens to my father? I asked. That depends on how cooperative he wants to be. What about the identity theft? If your father cooperates fully, the DA might consider reduced charges. And if he doesn't, then he goes to prison for 20 years. What about Vesper and me? You could work for us, as consultants. You know Montenegro's operations better than anyone. Vesper and I looked at each other. What would that involve? She asked, helping us track down the rest of Montenegro's network. They had operations in 7 countries. Together? If that's what you want. I thought about my original plan. Graduate school, join my father's firm, settle down. That life was gone now. But maybe that wasn't a bad thing. How long would this assignment last? I asked. As long as it takes. Vesper was already nodding. I'm in. What about you? Torres asked me. I looked at my parents in the other ambulance. My father would probably go to prison. My mother would have to rebuild her life. Everything familiar was gone, but Vesper was here, and we had a chance to actually save people. I'm in too. 6 months later, Vesper and I sat in a cafe in Mexico City, reviewing intelligence reports about Montenegro Industries' remaining operations. We'd helped arrest 47 people, frozen millions in criminal assets, and completely dismantled their money laundering network. My father had cooperated fully with federal prosecutors. In exchange for his testimony, he'd received a 3-year sentence instead of 20. He was serving his time at a minimum security facility and would be eligible for parole in 18 months. My mother had sold the house and moved to a small apartment near the prison. She visited Dad twice a week and had started volunteering with an organization that helped white-collar crime victims rebuild their lives. Final report just came in, Vesper said, showing me a tablet. Montenegro Industries is officially defunct. What about Ms. Reyes? Life without parole. And the last of their operations? Shut down yesterday. The Mexico City office was their final functioning unit. I looked across the table at her. 4 years ago, she'd been assigned to investigate my family. Now she was my partner in every sense of the word. So what's next? I asked. Torres has a new assignment for us. What kind of assignment? There's a new criminal organization that's been absorbing Montenegro's former clients. More money laundering? Much worse. She pulled out a classified folder. Human trafficking. My stomach dropped. How much worse? They're moving hundreds of women across international borders. Forced prostitution, debt bondage, modern slavery. Where? Everywhere. But their main hub appears to be in Eastern Europe. When do we leave? Next week. I thought about the life I'd planned versus the life I was living. Everything had changed the night Vesper told me the truth on that beach. I'd lost my father's respect, my family's stability, and any hope of a normal future. But I'd gained something more important. Purpose. Partnership. The chance to actually make a difference. Are you ready for this? She asked. Ready to infiltrate international criminal organizations and rescue trafficking victims? Ready to be partners, real partners, in everything. She pulled out a small box and set it on the table. What's this? Open it. Inside was a simple silver band. It's not a diamond, she said, but I thought maybe we could start over. No lies this time. Are you proposing to me? I'm proposing we become partners. Real partners. I thought about the ring I'd lost on the beach 6 months ago. The elaborate proposal, the fairy lights, the carefully planned speech about soulmates and forever. This was better. Yes, I said. Yes to being partners. Yes to everything. We were married 3 weeks later in a small ceremony in Torres's backyard. My parents attended via video call from the prison visitor center. Vesper's sister Becca served as both witness and officiant. 2 months later, we were on a plane to Prague, beginning our investigation into the trafficking network that had absorbed Montenegro's former operations. It would be dangerous work, undercover assignments, international travel, constant risk, but we'd be doing it together, as real partners, with complete honesty between us. Do you ever regret it? Vesper asked as our plane climbed above the clouds. Regret what? All of this. The lies, the danger, leaving your old life behind. I regret that your first proposal involved handcuffs and federal agents. That wasn't a proposal. That was a revelation. And I regret that my father got involved with criminals. But I don't regret where we ended up. She reached across the aisle and took my hand. Even though we're essentially fugitives hunting international criminals. Especially because of that. Why? Because this is who we really are. Not the people we were pretending to be, but who we actually are when everything fake gets stripped away. Criminals hunting criminals? Partners saving people. The plane leveled off. Below us, the world looked peaceful from 30,000 feet. But we knew better. Somewhere down there, people were suffering. Women were being trafficked. Families were being destroyed by criminals who thought they were untouchable. Ready? Vesper asked. Always. She opened a new case file. According to Torres, this trafficking network is 3 times larger than Montenegro ever was. Then I guess we have our work cut out for us. Are you scared? Terrified. Good. Fear keeps us alive. What about afterwards? Afterwards? When we've shut down every criminal network, rescued every victim, arrested every trafficker, What happens when the work is done? She smiled and squeezed my hand. Then we find a beach somewhere. I'll buy you a ring, and I'll propose to you properly. With fairy lights? With whatever you want. I want honesty. That's all I have left. Then that's all I need. The plane banked toward Prague. Through the window, I could see the lights of the city growing larger. Somewhere down there, criminals thought they were safe. Somewhere down there, victims were praying for rescue. They were about to get both. We descended through the clouds toward our new assignment, our new life, our new truth. 4 years of lies had led us to this moment of complete honesty. It wasn't the life either of us had planned. It was better,